Hey everybody, this is Lori White with RE/MAX Southern Shores, and we are coming to you live today. We're going to talk about forbearance and that option that's been thrown around out there. And with me today is Kris Davis, and he is the owner of the Guild Mortgage branch here in Myrtle Beach. Kris and I have worked together for, 13 years, I think. And you're my trusted advisor when it comes to these things. So I wanted to just introduce yourself, Kris, talk a little bit about your background, and then we'll get started with some info.
Sure. Yeah. It's all I've ever done, Lori. I've been in the mortgage business my whole adult life, 20 plus years in the business. And, you go through lots of peaks and valleys in this business, right? We survived 2000, we survived 2008. And then we're going to get through this challenge too with the coronavirus. But, with that comes a little bit of expertise as far as we've seen these things before, so we know how to navigate and get around it.
Perfect. So I want to talk about forbearance because that's been thrown out there a lot, and there are a lot of people considering it, and I don't know that everybody out there understands fully what it means and the things that they need to know about it. So what does the term forbearance mean?
So a forbearance is simply put, it's a pause on your mortgage payments for a certain amount of time. It's not a kind of get out of jail free card, unfortunately. That it's a lot of people, I'm seeing it thrown around like it's, you're just basically not having to pay a mortgage payment for a certain amount of time. That's not the case at all. There are some consequences or repercussions around stopping your mortgage. So we really need to get into that and explore those options.
Okay, so the first question is, what questions should they ask their lender when they're considering a forbearance?
That is the most important question, Lori. I'm glad you raised that point. You've got several options. You have to repay this money, right? It just doesn't go away. So a big misconception out there is it's just automatically tacked on to the end of your mortgage. That's not always the case. These things vary by servicer. So whoever you're making your payment to on your mortgage, you need to first reach out to them and find out what their options are. So it could be that they pay it in one lump sum. So if you have a forbearance for say 3 months, on the 4th month, all of those payments could be due. So that's really a kind of a scary concept for people that are struggling right now to make their payments. If they're laid off due to this virus, they could really be in a tremendous financial hardship on the 4th month, right? And a lot of people have a lot of equity in their house. This crisis is so different than the financial crisis we went through in 2008, because a lot of people were doing loans, 100% financing. That was kind of the norm. Right now, people have a lot of equity in their houses. So, not being able to make that mortgage payment could result in a foreclosure action in some cases by the lender. So that's one option. That's probably the most negative option would be it's all due at once, right? Most lenders, at Guild, what we're doing is we're stretching it out over time. So over the course of a 6-month period, we'll add 1/6 of that balance that you owe to the mortgage. Or if in some cases too, if the forbearance lasts longer or people are still in a financial hardship, they can do what we call a modification of the loan. So it would actually be tacked on to the back of the loan. So your loan could be extended for a certain amount of time to pay that off. But that's sort of on a case-by-case basis. So it's not a end all be all, and every servicer, I can't reiterate that enough, every loan servicer is different. So the first step is to reach out to your loan servicer and find out what's going on there. And just to point out too, with we got 10% of the population possibly out of work right now. A lot of those people are doing those claims. So the wait times at most loan servicers are extensive. So be prepared for that. If you can do it online, we have an online feature that's very simple and easy, but a lot of people don't. So just advisor.
Whoop, we lost Kris there for a minute. Hopefully, there you are. All right. So a forbearance is not necessarily. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Oh, you're muted now. I think your Bluetooth may be disconnected.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think that may be disconnected.
Let's try this.
Better? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you though.
Yep.
Oh shoot, Lori, I don't have any audio.
Oh goodness. Try goodness.
I'm so sorry. You want to try this again? Maybe exit and then go back live?
Why don't you try to disconnect and come back on?
Okay.
The wonders of modern technology, everybody. We come into a few little blips every now and then. So let's see if we can get Kris back, because a lot of the info he's talking about and the questions I have for him are really, really important. So I really want to make sure that we get you the info. Let's see. No, he's not back yet. Let me see if I need to send him another invite. So go away, everybody. Well, the invite should work from what he had. Sorry for the blip, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Don't go away. We're going to get Kris back to finish this live video in just a minute. Oh, here he comes.
There we go. I'm
Much
back.
better.
The joys of working from home.
And modern technology, right?
Exactly.
That's okay. See, I have found my internet's not so great, so sometimes I slip out. So a forbearance is not synonymous with a loan modification. They're not always the same. They're not the same term.
Exactly right. Exactly right. The loan modification is kind of a next step after the forbearance, and it's again going to vary greatly by loan servicer. And keep in mind too that these programs are available for loans that are government backed. So Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, USDA, FHA, and VA. If you've got a privately held mortgage, jumbo loans, or they could be a little different as well. So this program is just a government-backed. It's called the CARE program. So there are certain rules that govern those government-backed loans, but those loans, they don't apply necessarily to all types of mortgages.
All right, and then tell me what effects on credit, on the homeowner's credit, would a forbearance have, if any?
That's part of this CARE Act, that there is no detrimental effect on your credit report. We don't know really how that's going to look on reporting, right? So on a credit report, it shows C, current. Is there just going to be a gap there? We don't know. We're still kind of working around the rules of that, but no fees, no penalty fees whatsoever, and no adverse impact on your credit score. So that's part of that government program, but that may not apply to, like we say, loans that are held by non-government backed loans.
And that, of course, doesn't mean that when the forbearance period ends and you're required to make your payment, if you don't make the payments that are required, now we're going to have credit issues.
Definitely some repercussions there, right? Right. Because you got a certain amount of time, you'll enter to a certain time agreement with your loan servicer, and if you're not in communication with them and you go beyond that time period, definitely some detrimental effects, I would think.
All right.
Yeah.
And if somebody were to choose a forbearance option and later wanted to refinance because of whatever reason, would that prevent them from being able to refinance?
That's a great question. You cannot refinance while you're in a forbearance. So you would have to come out of the forbearance in order to refinance. Really a great option. People that are still employed, a lot of people are kind of calling, well, I don't feel like making my payment. The better option would be to refinance, possibly lower your monthly payment, and you actually will skip 1 month's payment right after you close. So that could be and you can save $300 for 20 years instead of missing these payments for 3 months. So a lot of good options there.
Wonderful. And what if somebody chooses forbearance, the lump sum, and it is a lump sum payment, either they thought they could do it or they didn't realize that's what they were getting into. What if they cannot make that payment?
Typically, the servicer will work with people. That's the guidance we're kind of putting out. It's going to vary. It's going to vary by each lender, unfortunately. So I really can't speak to that on a broad base, sort of blanket statement. But you would assume that there would be some ramifications or consequences for not being able to make that payment. So up to and including foreclosure in some cases.
Right. And so if they were to choose that option and then can't make that payment down the line trying to refinance, if they now show late, that's going to be an issue.
A huge issue, right. Bottom line here, Lori, is this isn't just a free pass. Right. It's designed to help people that really need it. And if you're out of work and we know you're going to get back. We hope to God that everybody's going to get back to work at some point. But if you're really in a financial situation where you can't do it, then it's a great option. But it's not an option if you just don't feel like making your mortgage payment. Gotcha.
And for people who can't make their payment and are temporarily unemployed, is this the only option for them, or is there some other thing that they can possibly do to keep themselves from getting behind? And
it's a very good option for people that don't have the means or the savings to fund this through during their out of work period. A lot of people are paycheck to paycheck in America, unfortunately, and a sudden loss of one or both incomes in a household is pretty devastating. So the government acted quickly and really did a good thing for all of us for this. But this would be probably the place to start. There are some modification options out there based on several options, but for most people affected by this virus, this would be the place to start.
Okay. So the biggest takeaway, I think, from what we've talked about is ask a lot of questions and make sure that you are 100% clear about what you're choosing, and make sure that they have it in writing that this is what's going to happen, and be 100% sure.
Absolutely. First step is to contact your servicer. If you just decide you're not making your payment this month, it's going to be a big problem, right? You've got to enter into this agreement with your servicer and ask all the questions, get all the options. A local lender, you could reach out to, but be prepared for a little bit of a wait time there too. But definitely know what your repayment options look like before you go into this agreement.
Okay. And one last question: if somebody did want to refinance, they do have to still be employed. They cannot be even temporarily unemployed. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. If you're furloughed or your income has stopped temporarily, we have to stop that loan process, and we kind of pick it back up when people are back at work.
Okay. And are you able to speak with people who just don't know a way to turn
absolutely. We're always here to help. kdavis@guildmortgage.net is my email address, or you can contact the office 843-839-5626. It's part of being local is really doing our part to help. We take this very seriously, and we want to be an advocate for everybody. So even if you don't have a loan with Guild Mortgage, no problem. Give us a call, and we just want to be here and do our part during this time.
And Kris, that's why I wanted to do this with you in particular. We've been doing business together since 2007 when I moved to the area. And I trust you implicitly, and I know that your advice is good advice, and you really care about your customers, and even the ones that don't become your customers but just need some help. So
absolutely. Same as you, Lori. We just try to do our part to take care of people,
right.
Exactly. And if we take care of people, great things happen. So we're all in it together, and I wish you and your family the best of luck through this. And we're here to help.
All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this with me. And I'm going to go ahead and post with the videos the phone numbers for Guild Mortgage and the website for your website. And thanks again for doing this with me.
My pleasure. Have a great weekend.
Talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.